That's a hot start, Frank. That's all you get. Oil pressure, no messages. Avionics master's coming on. We've got headsets. These are your ECUs, your electronic control unit, A and B. So one is running and one is on hot standby at all time, ready to jump in the event of a failure. So what these little toggle switches here will do is allow us during our run-up to verify which one is actually operating and which one is on standby. So when I flip this up to A, felt that little stutter right there. That's intentionally built into the airplane to let you know that that's the ECU on standby. When I come back into the auto mode and then down to B, we will not feel a shudder. All right, so I've just confirmed that ECU B is running and A is on standby. And the ECUs will pick which one they're going to operate on from flight to flight based on total running time. So it'll be different on every flight.
So it uses up both of them eventually, right?
Yeah, so you're not running one all the time and, oh, there's, so this one's actually running on ECU A. We're going to feel the stutter as we go into B. There it is. Okay, so that's confirmed. All right, the ECU tests, well, we can generally do one at a time or we can do both at a time. On my last flight with Frank there, with Ken, we did one at a time. I'll show you guys what it looks like to do both at the same time. The ECU test buttons, you just hold in. We'll be able to watch over here as the ECUs do their entire cycle. I hold those in, engine power comes up. The right engine's going to cycle the prop on that one. So it's going through its entire system right now. It's doing a full mechanical and electrical diagnosis of the aircraft. And then if we had anything wrong with the airplane right now, we would have had a message pop up over here to let us know. So essentially that's the run-up right there. New Braunfels Tower 62 Victor Victor holding short of 35, ready for departure when able.
62 Victor Victor, runway 35 east departure, clear for takeoff. Traffic on the downwind for runway 35.
Okay, 62 Victor Victor, clear for the departure in the eastbound right turn out to 62 Victor. I'm going to do full power against brakes for the departure. Okay.
I'm sorry, inbound from...
Brakes are on.
Inbound from
here comes the power. We're looking for 100% up here.
Symphony 640, Sierra Alpha.
Symphony 640,
there we go.
Sierra Alpha, report a 3 mile straight in final for runway 35.
3 miles straight in for runway 35.
Airspeed's alive. Temperatures and pressures check. I'm looking for 78 knots as my rotation speed. Positive rate, landing gear is coming up. And then look at our fuel burns there now. So we're 13.9, 14 gallons an hour. And it works out every time. It's if you take your
5% now, yeah.
If you take your percentage of power and divide it by 10, that's what your fuel flow is going to be. So it makes it real easy for planning purposes. So we'll probably end up with about 165 to 170 knots of true airspeed at this altitude with, at 14 gallons an hour. That's pretty awesome between two engines. There's a lot of airplanes out there right now that are burning, that plus on one engine alone.
Yeah, my Bonanza.
Yeah, an IO 520, 30, or IO 540 or 550. Yeah, they're all burning, 20 gallons an hour.
Lena Peak, I'd be doing 14 gallons an hour right now, doing 150 knots altitude.
There we go. So we're doing 165 right now on the efficiency of two engines and safety galore. Then when we get back into the stall, you'll hear the stall warning come on at about 71 or 72 knots here. There it is. So there's your audible. Okay, and then I'll keep the power. Do a little bit of a power on, so around 30% power. We'll bring it back. We'll start to feel the wing buffet a little bit here in a moment. So here's the onset of the stall right now. It's starting to feel it stutter. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So there it is. Now I'm going to demonstrate something. This would be a point where you would do a full recovery right now with in a flight exam. But just to demonstrate the stability in this airplane, I'm going to keep this stall coming on. I've got that stick all the way back, Frank. That stick won't come back any further. So that airplane is fully stalled. Now we're coming down. We're in a descent, forward descent here right now. That airplane is fully stalled. Now the recovery is just normal. Just release the back pressure on the stick. Start bringing the flaps up. Bring the gear up. We're going to start cleaning up the airframe. We're accelerating here. And last notch flap coming up. Now, this is always impressive with this airplane too, is the engine out. So what we're going to do here right now, I did this with Ken earlier on. I was explaining that, you know, I always like to run a little bit of a scenario, like if we had a bird strike or something like that, and we had a bad vibration on the engine, and we needed to shut it down for precautionary measures, so it did throw itself to pieces. Now the airplane is they're not counter-rotating propellers, so the left engine is critical on this aircraft. So this is the engine that I always like to shut down to show people how well it performs the critical engine shutdown. So we've identified a problem over here. We want to secure the left engine. It's quite literally as easy as engine master off, okay? When I bring the engine master off, the engine, because it's such a high compression engine, it comes to a stop very quickly, and the ECU has automatically feathered the prop for us. So that drag is gone. So I'll just put the power up on the right engine. I'm up over 90% there now. And I've got lots of right rudder in right now, which is compensating for the yaw being created by the right side. But I can, you know, I can buy that foot pressure back by just using the rudder trim. All right. And then what I'll do is I'll get a climb started here. Now, mind you, we've got 3 adults on board, and you know, still like 40 gallons of fuel on board plus TKS. And we can get a nice climb started. So I should be able to maintain a 450 foot per minute climb here, no problem at all. And the airplane is climbing away, happy as a bug. And we can make a turn towards the dead engine, which is generally not a practice you do, because you're always, in some aircraft right now, the good engine would have cause the airplane to wing over like this, but it'll make a turn towards the dead engine, no problem at all. I can roll back away and turn into the dead engine, or into the good engine, pardon me. All while maintaining a climb.
600 feet a minute. Oh, you're slowing.
We had a little bit of steam going
down there.
Yeah, we had a little bit of steam going into that one, so it's a little deceiving. And I'm going to keep the airspeed intentionally low for the restart, all right? I'm going to restart this engine, and then I'm going to explain what I did. So engine master back on, and then starter button. So by keeping the airspeed intentionally low, i.e. 90 knots or less, when I bring the engine master back on and I unfeather that propeller, it's only going to windmill to its next compression stroke position. At that point, there's not enough aerodynamic force on the propeller to windmill it past. So when it comes to that next compression stroke, we call that clocking. When it stops there, that's now my opportunity to re-engage the starter and get the propeller going using the starter. So that's the recommended method for the restart in flight. All right.
215.
So pumps are on, 3 down and locked. Landing flaps for this one are set, lights are on, circuit breakers all checked, trim is set, and the fuel is on.
I'll be northeastbound about a mile south.
Feel the airplane starting to settle in a little bit, that's when you know you need to add a little bit of power. So the airspeed's good, and the glide path, we would probably be just a little bit below the VASIs right now, but looking good.
The power lines.
Traffic 12 o'clock, safe altitude less than 1 mile.
down.
Room 2 Victor Victor, turn right, taxiway Echo, cross runway 13, taxi to the ramp, monitor ground.
Okay, right turn on Echo, clear to cross 13, I'll monitor ground 2 Victor Victor.